Hi, my name is Dakota Smith, and I'm going to school for industrial maintenance. Um, for this, it's about this video is about my job and what I'm going to be going into, and the way um, the I guess you call it the way it works in the job, from going from the boss to the lower uh, laborers, and so you'd be using my personal experience with that because I work construction. I've been doing that for a few years now, and for that, pretty much it's my boss tells me what to do and I do it. But to elaborate on that a little bit, I'm gonna go in a little bit of detail. Uh, my boss, the work foreman, he has set the blueprints and plans set by the engineers, telling how they want the building built and how it's laid out and all the details for that. Where he will then go and tell the carpenters and the masons what he wants them to do for them to get all the dimensions for putting the forms up, getting all that stuff set up, and then that will go down to the laborers, where that's where I'm at. And then we will go and be carrying all the stuff, uh, start swinging hammers and pounding nails to get the forms put together. And for the work foreman, that's a takes a special type of person. There is crappy bosses everywhere, but usually those are the best on the crew. They're the hardest working people. They are the um, ones that have the most experience with that particular job, or uh, going to be the ones that have been doing it the longest. And then the carpenters and masons can have just as much experience as the foreman, but a lot of times they just don't want the responsibility of being a foreman, so that's where they kind of stay. Or they are in training to become a foreman, and they just haven't got all the qualifications quite yet. And then there's the laborers, where a lot of times it's just young kid guys going and for a summer job in between the school years, and wanting to basically just make some extra money for the summertime. And then there's a few others in there that they want to become the carpenters and masons and eventually become the foreman. And then there's like the rare exception where one of the guys in my work, he's a 63. He was working for 40 years, retired from the job he was at, got bored of his retirement after a couple of years, and then decided to come to work for the company I work for, and as just a regular old laborer, carrying heavy stuff and swinging a hammer, pounding on concrete and all that stuff. And even though he's 63 years old, he's one of the hardest workers out there. But he's yeah. But then uh, to get the interview is going to be showing up next. It's going to be with my dad, who worked construction when he was about my age, and so that's next.
Hi, my name is Avery Smith, and I've been asked by Dakota to give you some background on some of the construction experience that I have. Anything from plumbing to finished carpentry and everything in between, anything from new construction, repair, maintenance, different things like that. And so I've done quite a bit of the construction trade. even into the electrical aspect of it, even though I'm not an electrician, working with different electricians. So pretty well-rounded experience. I'd say putting all of it together, somewhere around 20 plus years of experience in the construction trades. And so um, I've done quite a bit.
For the plumbing um, job you had, what position were you in that?
When I first started out, I was just simply a laborer. Specifically, they titled me a plumber's assistant, I guess, if I wanted a fancy title for it. And I did that for between 3 and 5 years. I can't remember exactly how many years. It was two different companies that I worked for.
For your boss, how did you work for him in that relation?
In the relationship, as far as the employee relationships, it was actually really good. And again, two different companies I worked for. I can get kind of compare and contrast them for you. One, the very first one, I was just a kid in high school at the time, and so when it came down to, you had the company owner, then underneath him you had the department manager. The department manager didn't really get out in the field that often. Once in a while, he would do some things with us, but the department manager would then look at the foreman for the job, whoever that might be. I was actually tasked with a specific plumber. I was his helper, and we go on do a job. He'd have a certain stack of assignments that we'd have to do for that day, and we would go out and work. The next company that I worked for was a little bit different. He was a little bit more relaxed in the atmosphere of how we worked. Again, I was basically a laborer. Over me, there was a journeyman plumber, and then who was underneath the owner, who was the master plumber. And in that job, actually, I was given a lot more freedom. Once he knew my skill set was more advanced than actually, and this is his words, even more advanced than the journeyman. He put me in charge of hauling the equipment, moving the tractors around, all the large equipment, and the large trucks and trailers, going in and getting a job ready, starting to lay down the forms and digging the ditches and getting things ready for actually laying the pipe. So I had a lot more responsibility from him than I did in the very first position, where it was much more structured. So um, structured environment where I didn't get a whole lot of things that I could do. The less structured environment where, based on what he could see that I did with my abilities, able to put me into different things right away. It was kind of neat.
Thank you very much.